belief in the supernatural aspect of these stories never alters the calculus of what people should do? That the divine nature of a story about Jesus doesn't motivate people to do something that they might not have the courage to do otherwise, the belief that they might end up in heaven because their good work is going to be observed doesn't alter their behavior?
Well, yeah, I know it alters their behavior, but rather often for the bad.
Well,
no, I mean, this is what worries me about. I think there's something, there's a profound net negative that we are paying the price for every day by believing in paradise, right? A belief that this life, it probably doesn't matter very much at all because we get what we really want after we die is, forget about the evidentiary basis for that belief. It's ruinous for prioritizing what we should be prioritizing in this life. And
I agree with that, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yep. So, let me ask you this. I hear from you what might be a kind of confirmation bias, where I hear that, we've got a mixed bag. You've got supernatural claims. These supernatural claims, we all agree, have effects on the way people actually behave. And you're quite focused on the negative, and you tend to discount the positive, which might be an artifact of the fact that we're talking about the present, and therefore maybe something that's not well matched to these stories, or it might be from the idea that you have the sense that there is actually a bias, that these belief structures do and have always produced more harm than good.
And also my sense that the positive can be had without those structures. So if you're talking about the contemplative experience, like, is it possible to wake up tomorrow morning feeling like Meister Eckhart, right? Feeling like you're just inseparable from the pure capital B being that is consciousness, right? And there's no separate self there, right? A self-transcending union with everything you can perceive, right? I think that can be had without any kind of religious dogmatism. That's just a matter of paying close enough attention to the nature of consciousness. So the contemplative life is one baby in the bathwater we can save. The ethical life is another baby we can save. You don't have to presuppose anything on insufficient evidence to argue about what is right and wrong and good and evil in the 21st century. And that's,
so is it fair to call that a hypothesis, that not just for some people, but for everyone, the level of well-being can be enhanced through rational interaction with the questions that dictate what we do? Is that a hypothesis?
Well, that's a hypothesis. The one additional fact that makes that more or less moot is that on certain points, even if we felt that really believing the fiction was advantageous to people, depending on which fiction you're talking about, there's too much evidence against it. You can't decide to believe something for which you have no evidence simply because of the good effects, the good experience it will give you, or you imagine it will give you. I mean, that's why Pascal's wager never made any sense. I mean, you can't say, the only way you can believe something to be true, really true, not just metaphorically true, is to believe that if it weren't true, you wouldn't believe it. That you stand in some relationship to its truth such that that is the reason why you believe it. Now, you can't be telling yourself, I have no evidence for this thing, but I know life would be better if I believed it to be true, and so therefore I really believe it's true.
You don't think people do that all the time?
I don't think they do. I think they do things much more like we're talking, the metaphorical truth we're talking about. We act as if things are true without forming any strong propositional claim, and that's fine. That's fine. That has its own utility. I mean,
you don't think this is basically, we all suspend disbelief when we go and watch a movie, and we sort of entitle the movie maker to set the ground rules of the space, and if it's Harry Potter, then there are magical things that can happen, and if it's some other story, maybe there aren't. So we all have a mechanism whereby we know we can suspend disbelief, and it's interesting to me that you seem not to imagine that people are doing that with respect to metaphysical beliefs that have implications for what the right actions that they should take are. Why wouldn't it be the case that same sort of mechanism would apply?
Well, it does apply, but there are people who are clearly doing much more than that. I mean, so I'm not, if that's all people were doing under the aegis of religion, I wouldn't spend much time worrying about religion. I mean, that, to some degree, that's what people do, you know, as you say, going into caring about things that at bottom we really shouldn't care about. So the World Cup is on right now, and we you know, literally billions of people care down to their toes what happens to this little ball as it traverses a lawn, right? And if it goes into the net, it really matters. And if it fails to, it really matters. And
It always matters if we hit the target, Sam.
but this is something we have manufactured to care about, right?
No, it's something that speaks to us unbelievably
It's quite
deeply.
literally a game. This is a game that people are playing, but some people take it taking it further than seems truly rational is part of the fun. But the people who can't turn that off.
It's a metaphor. Soccer's a metaphor.
Yeah, but there are people who the fullback who kicks an own goal and then goes back to his South American village and gets murdered, right? He's surrounded by people who are taking the game too seriously.
Yeah,
right?
okay, I agree.
Yeah, and so my problem with religion is that so much of the time we're meeting those people, and we're not criticizing those people. We have no place to stand to criticize those people because we're so attached to the game.